The Coast to Coast Rangers. Who are the Coast to Coast Rangers? That is a good question. They are rangatahi from Te Aratai College, and they're signing up to do the Coast to Coast race, which a lot of them have never even heard about.
Being a young person and being able to do it, especially since I'm not a sporty kind of person, I'm more like into academic, and this is my first time going into something like this, and it's a really big thing, and so I'll be really happy if I, achieve something like that.
With the Coast to Coast race itself, there's 3 disciplines. So the running, the biking and the kayaking. In order to do that, we need to get them the skills that they need to do all those 3 disciplines to the best of their abilities.
I've always enjoyed running and I thought I'd give it a shot. Of course, coast to coast is a lot more, but I'm up for the challenge.
It is 240 something kilometres from the west coast to the east coast, Kumara to New Brighton, 3k sprint off the beach, 50k road cycle, 33k mountain run, 15k cycle, 67k kayak, and then 70-kilometre cycle to the finish line in New Brighton. It's so outside their comfort zone, it's so foreign. It's like when I talk to them about coast to coast, it's like I'm speaking a different language, and they're like, what are you on about, lady?
I want to put myself out there to see what I'm capable of. I always want to do best in my studies and in running and my physical health, so I want to exhaust every single limitations I have and to see what I'm capable of.